Yes sir, top of the day, another day. It could be in the middle of the day and you wouldn't know it. I just say top of the day just to acknowledge you and to introduce you to the video that is brewing up right now. If you didn't know, I'm hosting Brent. Important topic to talk about today, man. I can't even say important. Important topic to talk about today is this subject matter here. The difference between solitude and loneliness. Now me, I really adore my solitude. I adore the time I get to spend, and really, like I said before in the other video, I'll make sure to link that in the description, or during the video or whatever. I get a lot of my energy from solitude. I really do. It's funny because when I get around a bunch of non-familiar energy that isn't like resonating with me, it drains me. It makes me feel super drained and unfulfilled. I just have to leave that space instantly, or I would just be sucked in this void of just drained energy. We don't want that. So there's nothing wrong with being alone. We kind of confuse it a lot of times, where we look at being alone as being lonely or living in a lonely situation. Well, let me say it like this. When you're alone, we confuse it as loneliness. That's not the case here, because I'd rather be alone than to be in a crowd of people that don't even really know themselves. They just floating around and just really taking up your energy. It's like the phone, right? On your iPhone or your phone or whatever you use. When somebody else doesn't have a connection, right? They want to use your hotspot so they can get connection. That hotspot will permit them access to have a signal, because they couldn't even get their own signal, so they had to borrow somebody else's signal in order to be fulfilled. It's the same with our space, our relationships. Not even our relationships, because that's not a great example to look at as a relationship. That's more of a convenience, and we'll talk about that on another day. There's a different day, different story. We got more to talk about. But when people are in your space for convenient situations and times, remove them instantly. Once you notice that and once you see that, remove that from your space, because it doesn't do anything for you. It does everything for them, and that's something that we have to recognize early on. So like I said, I adore my alone time, my solitude. I usually get most of that in the beginning of the day, or when I start my day. I devote the first hour with myself, because you sleep with yourself, you wake up with yourself. You're the person to really feed 9 times out of 10 for the most part. You want to make sure your family and everybody else is good, right? But you can't do anything for anybody else until you're good with yourself. That's what alone time does to me. That's what solitude does for me. It gives me energy. It restores my balance. A lot of times, really, in this day and age, in this world, there's an imbalance, and that's why it's so popular to be in balance. Now, I'm a Libra. I'm always trying to find my skills, and I'm always trying to have a good way of measuring out things. If I gotta think about it too much, it's probably not for me. If I gotta double take and be like, I'll give myself a 3-second limit usually. If it's not green within those 3 seconds, I'm moving on, and I know it's not for me. A lot of the times we do things knowing that we shouldn't do it, which is why we end up messed up most of the times, and then we go through this whole turmoil, and it can last for years. It can last a long time. Over one instant, you could have avoided that. So recognize the difference in your life. When you are in your alone times, you're not really alone. You have yourself. That's enough company. You should look at your company as the most rewarding. You shouldn't You should not have to seek out other people's company. Your company is most valid, and you have to see that for yourself. We have to learn that. We have to learn ourselves. We have to get comfortable with ourselves, and we have to appreciate ourselves. That's the name of the game. That's what they don't tell you. I mean, people talking about it now. I'm talking about it. They don't teach you this. You have to learn this as you go. If only they taught you these valuable lessons early on. Nah, we learn it. We learning it now. That's the most important thing. They said what they say. The most crucial time to plant a seed was 20 years ago. The most crucial time to plant a seed is right now. So whether it's past due or not, we're getting this information right now, and I think that's most important. We want to validate that, and we want to see that as a source of approval. Indeed. Don't confuse your loneliness as being, and matter of fact, let me backtrack. Loneliness is subjective. It's subjective. There's a difference between loneliness and solitude. That's the bottom line here. You're alone most of the times. You're with yourself most of the times, but you're not really alone. We just label the situation and kind of disregard ourselves. We kind of discredit ourselves when we say that we're, lonely. I want to touch on that because that's not really a fair statement, because there are people that are out there that go through that all the time, and I don't want to discredit the fact that you feel lonely. I just want you to know that it's common. You don't have to feel bad for your loneliness. But if you can interpret that in another way, where you're not really lonely, you're just alone, and that should grant you enough solitude. That's when we move into solitude. Solitude is valuable. It's a valuable thing. If you can live with yourself and be okay with yourself majority of the time, then you're doing all right. You should pat yourself on the back for that. You should give yourself a round of applause, because it's not easy. And a pool of people, a mass amount of people, we got about like 1 billion. I don't know how many people we got to look it up for me. Let me know in the comments how many people we got here on this earth. Like I said, let me know in the comments how many people we got here on this earth. With so many people, there should be no reason why we are lonely. People are going through a lot of different, things in life, and for them to feel lonely, that is a problem. The dude from Ellen DeGeneres ended up committing suicide. Like, just not even, it just happened. He was successful, he looked joyful, he looked happy, right? Still, like, his situation ended on not the best terms. And my condolences go out to the family, whatever he was going through, who knows, but that's not cool. That's not cool for that to just happen and then we just move on. And we need to evaluate the situation, but that's why I touch on these things, because I think they are most important. Never mind me. I'm just touching on it because these are things that I feel like should be touched on. It's like rappers back in the day, like with NWA or whatever. The interview people, they would ask, why are you highlighting so much violence? And really, if they didn't, the violence would just continue without anybody's notice. Like, nobody would know, nobody would really care. They really just highlighted the situation and what goes on in day-to-day life that no one really talks about. So it's the same with this. Like, if we talk about it a little bit more, we'll feel a little bit more liberated, and that's key. If we don't talk about it, then there's no problem. Everything's good. You ask people, how we doing, or how you doing? Good. You're on automatic mode. You don't even hear yourself saying good. Some people are honest and being like, not so good. And then we could talk about it. We can talk about it, get to the root of it, so we can heal that part of you that doesn't feel good. It's okay not to feel good all the time. You don't have to feel 100% all the time. That's what they don't tell you. But you do have to you have to find a way to keep going. You gotta find a way to keep going. That's my really spill on loneliness and the difference between your alone time and solitude. You should find joy from your alone time in solitude. Not misrepresent that as loneliness or going through confusing feelings of loneliness. I keep repeating myself. I should not have to keep saying the same thing, but sometimes we do. I hope it resonates with you. I hope you pieced it together in your own sense, and you interpret the message in your own way that's favorable to you and really is valuable, because that's what it's about. I'm here in the backyard with the birds and the airplanes go over my head, and in this peaceful situation. This is a pure example of solitude at its finest. I'm Wholesome Brent. If you didn't know, now you know. If you haven't yet, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you tap in and subscribe and get with the program. Tap in with me, if you want to see more of me and whatnot. Let me know in the comments how this video resonated with you. Let's keep it going. Let's connect. Let's build. You got this. You should not have to feel like you are the only one going through tough times or confusing times. There's a world of people that are going through it, which will enable you not to feel so down bad. And it's okay. It's common. Everybody gets flat tires. You got people in the back. Not me. It happens. Flat tires happen. We keep a spare. I don't want to get into it, but you get what I'm saying. It's Wholesome Brent, man. You guys take care. I'm going to see you on the next one. Peace. Yes, sir. It's a beautiful day. Perfect time to talk about this one subject here. Yeah, if you didn't know. If you haven't yet, make sure you tap in, make sure you tune in, get with the program. Cut all that out. Calling again, I'm not gonna answer, baby. What would you do? Porn.